All right, all right, all right. If we should be live now, if you can see my face and hear my voice when you get on, please let me know. I am here with Nico Moreno, the self-proclaimed or actual chatbot king. Which is it?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Literally no shame in your game.
No shame. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Thanks for having me, Chris.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I like to bring on people I know have a lot to offer, can benefit people, and bring like a different perspective. And you certainly fit that bill. So I guess for anybody that doesn't know who you are, maybe just give us a little background and some idea of who you are, what you do, why people should care what you have to say.
Yeah, so my name is Nico Moreno, and excuse me, I am the self-proclaimed and world proclaimed chatbot king. So basically, one of the things that I guess kind of how I built my name up, and this is how Chris and I sort of met, was I started doing like building chatbots as an agency, and then that sort of did well. And then I created a chatbot course, and I needed to figure out how to market that course. So I joined Alex Becker's mastermind, and that's where you and I connected. Yeah, and then since then, so essentially like before that, I kind of did like a whole bunch of things like copywriting and funnel building, essentially kind of like a one-man agency, or I guess you could say freelancer, right? For just like a bunch of digital marketing services. Then I started to notice that chatbots were this cool new thing, and I was like, why aren't more people doing this? Like, they're really cool. I kind of just started playing around with them. And so for those of you who, like, what I mean by chatbot, by the way, is like Facebook Messenger bot. Yeah, I kind of noticed that they were really cool, and I was like, why are more people not doing this? And why are more people not like using this for their business? So I just started playing around with them. And then I started offering them to a couple of my existing clients, and also started to look around to offer this to like completely new clients. And yeah, got a couple clients that way, like who were using bots. And then I got them some cool results. I promoted those results as a way to launch my course. And then when I launched my course, like a bunch of clients were like, oh my God, you have a course, like you're the chatbot king. Like, can I like hire you for like one-on-one, like consulting and like paid work? And I was like, yeah. So it kind of like snowballed. And then, yeah, so that's sort of my background. And then now I have sort of a higher end program that helps people launch their own high ticket offer or like high ticket course.
Oh, cool. And going back further than that, like one of the things I like about you is that we have somewhat of a similar origin story.
Oh yeah.
A crummy day job. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Totally, yeah. So I remember us talking a little bit about this. So yeah, sort of my background story is I went to college at USC, University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Fight on for anyone out there. And after that, I got a day. So the first job that I got out of college, so I kind of majored in something weird. I majored in chemistry, which is not it doesn't make the job prospects too great. Let me just put it that way. So I came out like really, really fortunately. I was offered a job at a technology, like a software tech company, like the day of my like first college final or something like that. So it was literally like during finals, I was like, oh my God, like I'm graduating and I don't really know what the heck I'm gonna do. Got a job offer like a couple days before I was gonna be done with college. So moved up to the Bay Area, San Francisco, work at a technology like software company called Oracle. I hated it like so much. Like
what did you do there?
I was a sales consultant. So I helped sell. There would be like sales reps who would do like, I guess, cold calling. I don't really know. And then I was kind of like the slightly more like technical person who would like walk through the prospective client, like walk through the software on the screen for them. It was like really basic software. It was like talent management. So companies that needed to hire people through like an online portal, like they would put their job openings there and like accept applications. So it was like really basic software, but basically that was what I did, like walked through software on a screen with really boring, like stuffy older people. And it was just like so not what I thought life was gonna be like after college. And I was like, you know what? there's all these people out there. So I started reading books like Robert Kiyosaki and so his Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and then like 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I was like, okay, like I know that there's more out there, but I don't really know how to do it. Like I just kind of started reading all these entrepreneurship books and like books on personal finance, like Tony Robbins, Money, Master the Game. And I kind of just wanted to figure out like, how could I break out of this, like, I don't want to call it a crappy situation because like, obviously like I was really fortunate to have that job in the first place. And like, you know, always was able to put like food on the table and everything. But I was like, I don't know, I just wanted like more freedom, really more time freedom. And I knew that there was so much cool stuff out there for me if I could just figure out how to do it. So fast forward like a year, I had finally like had it with this job. It was so boring. Like it was like, I'm amazed that I lasted a year. It was so bad. So I quit that job and I kind of convinced myself, you know what, maybe I would just be better suited to working at like a cool tech startup. So instead I went to work at a tech startup. And it was actually a marketing software company called Invoca. They did like basically like kind of like Google ads and Facebook ads, but for like phone call tracking. So it was a pretty like cool, unique thing. But I was like, hey, maybe I'll like that better if it's a startup scenario. I didn't like that. That at least exposed me to online marketing, which is really cool. But I kind of just realized quickly that just working at a job was not for me. And then I ended up getting one final job at this other like tech company. That one did not last long. It was like 4 or 5 months or something. And at that point I was kind of like looking, okay, like how do I make money online? Or like literally I was just Googling like, how do I make money online? Like, how do I get free from this situation? Because I really don't like working for other people. And eventually the first thing that I had success with, I bought like this course on how to sell like Kindle books on Amazon. So how to sell like digital ebooks on Amazon. And it worked. I mean, like I made a couple hundred, maximum maybe like $1,000 a month. So it wasn't like enough to live on, but given that I had some savings, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump, and like, I have faith that it'll work out since I was able to make like some amount of income online. Plus I didn't have a family, you know, obviously it's not for everyone, but I didn't have kids to support, and I didn't have like, you know, like a single. So yeah, I kind of just like jumped, and around that, a little bit after that, I was kind of trying a bunch of different things like blogging and like freelancing and whatnot. I decided to take a trip to Japan, where I volunteered on a lettuce farm, which is probably in the description of this video. Yeah. So I volunteered on a Japanese lettuce farm, which was super cool, like so random, but such a cool experience. Like, and that was kind of where, gosh, I would say that was probably the biggest time of personal growth in my life, because not only was I like exposed to a completely different culture and a different way of life, but while I was working on this lettuce farm, so you had to work, I mean, you didn't have to, it was like volunteer work, but like our shifts were like 6 hours a day. And when you're out there, like in the middle of like literally a field, like picking lettuce or bok choy or whatever, like the only thing that you have, and you're like completely alone, the only thing that you have is like your head and like the thoughts inside your head. And I was literally just like wondering, like, and kind of like talking to myself, like not in a weird way, but like I was like, okay, like what is this all about? Like, what do I really want out of life? Like I just had so much time to just like think and not drive myself crazy. So I just started listening to like entrepreneurship podcasts the whole time. Because again, it was 6 hours a day where you just have like nobody around, like nobody to interact with. And so I just started listening to a bunch of entrepreneurship podcasts, like Tim Ferriss podcast, EO Fire by like John Lee Dumas. And I was like, okay, like all these stories are really cool. They're really inspiring. Like I'm just going to make this entrepreneurship thing work out. And so I've been following someone, like an online blogger, for a while. And she also happened to be a business coach in the make money online world.
Let's name drop.
Yeah, her name was Sarah Peterson. Her name is Sarah Peterson.
Okay.
She's super freaking awesome. You do? Okay. I don't know if she does it anymore. Like I'm really not sure, but I know she still has her blog. But yeah, she totally like changed my life. She helped me get my first couple like freelancing clients. And at that point I was doing copywriting. So I kind of was like, I don't really, like Sarah, like, I don't know really what I'm doing here. Like I'm making like a couple $100 like passively, but like I need something like big, right? And so we settled on like copywriting because I was interested in it. And I had a background in hypnosis, which is also somewhere in the description of this video.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but when I was starting to look into online marketing, I was so fascinated by like VSLs, particularly like video sales letters, because I had previously studied hypnosis, wanting to potentially get into entrepreneurship, but I didn't know if that was a viable career path. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to study this, but I didn't know how to turn it into a business really. But I started to notice when I was looking into copywriting and online marketing that the language patterns were like literally the exact same thing. I was like, oh, they're using future pacing, and like, oh, they're using like literally like all these hypnotic language patterns. I was like I literally could just like pick them out of the sales videos. And I was like, okay, like that's really cool and really interesting. And I wonder if there's a way that I can turn my interest into like language. Turn it into some way to actually make like legit money. And so that's how I settled on copywriting. And it was really a great fit because like I said, I already had this interest in just like language patterns, but it was a way that I could charge like a good amount of money for it.
Awesome.
So got into freelance copywriting. Then when I started to get clients for that, a lot of people who I either did become my client or didn't for this reason, they would be like, do you like build funnels too? And I was like, well, I don't really know like what that is, but I guess I need to learn like funnel building too. So then I started to learn funnel building, and then some of my clients were like, okay, well, do you do Facebook ads too? And I was like, well, no, but like, I guess I need to learn that too. So I started kind of like learning all this stuff that like, as I was like getting like more and more clients, they were like, okay, do you do this other thing? Do this other thing? And then I figured out, I was just like, okay, that's what I need. I guess that's the next thing I need to learn. Then everything kind of changed when I had this one copywriting client who she was launching an online course. And I was like, and she was like, okay, like I need help writing all the copy and like doing the sales funnel and sales page for like my online course. And I was like, cool, I'll do it. And then when she launched the course, she made $552,000 in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, holy crap, that was my first exposure to like someone making like an extremely obscenely large amount of money that I didn't really believe was possible, but I like literally saw it happen like in front of me. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So then I was like, okay, now I need to figure out how to learn, like how to create an online course. Cause like that must be where the real money is. Mm-hmm. So that got me curious in creating digital products. I tried doing it a couple times. The first time I made $0. Like I just didn't really know how to do it, but I created a course and like put it up for sale. Didn't really know like how to sell it. Nothing ever happened with it. So I still kind of was doing freelancing clients and stuff, and then eventually got into the messenger bot thing for, a lot of my clients who were wanting online, sales funnels basically.
Awesome.
So then I got into that whole thing, and I noticed that literally just one other person was selling a course on messenger bots, and I was like, hey, maybe this could be like a cool thing to create a course on, launch a course on. And so given that I had some results for like my clients that I was doing bot stuff with, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like create a messenger bot course. It's only one other person doing it right now that I saw. And so I did that. The course did really well when I launched it. And then, like I said, when I launched the course, then a bunch more like high ticket clients kind of like came on board because they saw the course and they were like, oh, I didn't know that like you did that, or I didn't know that this was like a thing. Like, can you do it for me? I was like, yeah. And so then from there, that was a whole other journey, like trying to learn how to market and scale like an online course. Mm-hmm. And again, that's how I met you, Chris, by joining like Becker's mastermind, getting into the whole like auto webinar or like webinars first off, like mm-hmm. being successful with live webinars, and then automating the whole like automated live webinar funnel, running ads to an automated webinar funnel. That was a whole other journey. So, and then sort of I mean, like you roll your eyes, but like it's such a journey. Gosh.
Yeah. Well, the automated thing is such a pain in the butt to get right. So
yeah, I mean, it was hard. It took me like 2 years before I got like any significant amount of sales from webinars. And then once I got, go ahead.
I do fairly well with it, but it dies out really fast. I have to like only run it for a month or two, and then I have to like refresh the whole audience and try it again, because it's definitely a constant battle to keep an auto webinar converting well. So
yeah, so that was kind of my journey. And then people started, I just kind of was like, you know, sharing the results that I was getting. And then people kind of started being like, oh, okay, like now can you teach me that thing? This is kind of what I'm learning with like, I don't know, entrepreneurship and marketing in general. Like you kind of just like get good at one thing, and then people want to learn how to do that. And then you kind of help them do that. And then by I guess like being successful with one thing, like you have to learn another skill set to like continue to push yourself and to grow your skills. And then more people are like, oh, I want to learn like that new thing. And so then people started reaching out and they were like, hey, like, can you help me like scale this, like, you know, whatever, high ticket business or high ticket offer? Or like, oh, I wish I could create a course like you. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like you can, like, here, I'll help you. So literally it's just like, it's always been kind of this sequential journey.
Do you ever feel like you're doing too many things? Like it sounds like you have a lot of things that you've offered or are offering and aren't focused in on one thing. Because I actually didn't know a lot of this about you. I always just think of you as the bot guy. But
yeah, so there's definitely. So I've had to like not do, or I've had to stop doing certain things, and literally just like picking which things to focus on and then which things to not do anymore. You kind of just have to, I mean, and that's kind of just like always a personal choice, but it's kind of like, okay, which thing A gives me like fulfillment or is at least, you know, somewhat enjoyable and fun. And then B, like, what is the most like, you know, viable for business too. And like a thing that people like, that can really help people, like, so it's in demand or like people like really want to learn it. So yeah, I would say it's been like, there've been several times where it's been like, okay, should I, like, I know that I'm doing too many things, like which things do I need to like stop doing?
Yeah, that's a temptation you're going to get a lot as an entrepreneur, because there's always like the new cool thing, new strategy, new way to get traffic, new technique, whatever it is. And I get offered to, can you promote this? Can you promote this? Can you promote this? I get those a lot. And I've had to learn when to say no, or at least say not right now. I hate saying no. But
do you mean like JVing, or like, what do you mean?
I get that a lot. I get, you know, and just like you, I see, oh, there's this new cool way to market this thing, and I'll try that. And if I just would focus on one, it would help. So my point is there's a temptation there to do everything because you can do well with it, but you need to cut out some of it, I think. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's always going to be there. Everyone's like, oh, don't get caught up with like shiny object syndrome. I think like, because like just the nature of online marketing, like there's always going to be new things. And I think it's just important to kind of decide for yourself, like what's most important to you. Like, do you want to have like a big amount of success with like one specific thing? Or do you want to right now, like try several things? It's okay to do either, but it's kind of like you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, if I want to really scale this business or focus on this business, then I need to focus on this business.
Right. I think new is like one of the most powerful addictions that people have, because there's always a rush when you learn something new or buy something new or start something new. And I think a lot of marketers take advantage of that. And that's why it's important to know your long-term goal and kind of focus everything to that, whether that means having several things to get you there or one thing to get you there. But don't just keep getting that dopamine hit of new, I think is a lesson that a lot of people need to learn.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I'm such a good buyer. Like I buy like a ton of stuff and like courses and stuff. And I've gotten a lot better at just like, okay, like I actually like earlier on in this week, like one of my business coaches, like, I mean, I don't want this to sound in a mean or a bad way or anything, but he like literally yelled at me and he's like, you're not allowed to buy anything else except Facebook ads and YouTube ads. Like you can't buy anything else. Just stop. And I was like, You're right. So like the only thing they need to be buying right now is like ads. For my offer.
Are you? Because I never see ads from you.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I know. So that's why he was like, you just like start your ads up. So I literally am starting my Facebook ads for my new offer today. So you should see those soon. A lot of times, so what I do also though is, well, I don't know. I'm surprised maybe you didn't get the Chatbot webinar one. No? Okay.
I haven't seen, I think I've seen maybe 2 ads from you. And I've always wondered how you keep the traffic going without it.
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of YouTube ads.
Okay, that's part of it.
For my Messenger bot webinar, because at that point my Facebook ad account was shut down, business account, business manager, whatever, the whole thing was shut down for like 8 months, which really sucked. And I finally got it back. But that's why I think YouTube has kind of been, I guess, like my saving grace, because they're so much more lenient with make money online type stuff.
It's a lot cheaper traffic too.
Yeah. So that really helped.
It's a little harder to learn, I think, but I think it's kind of an untapped resource for sure.
Yeah, I think it's such a steeper learning curve for sure. Yeah, but once you do learn it, I don't know, it feels really like cool and really powerful to understand it. But yeah, I mean, the really, really good thing was that since I had been doing freelancing in like a bunch of different niches and a bunch of different things for like a couple years before getting into the course game, like a lot of my business was like word of mouth, such that the only thing that really took a hit was like the course when I couldn't run ads. I mean, granted, it would have been, of course, really good to be able to run Facebook ads, but yeah, a lot of it was like word of mouth and like networking. Anyways, as far as doing like high ticket stuff, like I would just get referrals. Like
you also managed to leverage like Facebook groups to generate business too, right? Like I remember you telling me that a while back, that you're one of the few people I know that's done that in a way that doesn't make me want to slap the shit out of them, because like most people that try to market in Facebook groups are absolutely obnoxious about it and just spam. But you have a way of designing a post, and this is something I wanted to bring up, that visually it's very appealing. Like when I see one of your posts, I know it's you without even like looking at the name of it, because the way you like lay it out is very appealing. And you managed to get a lot of business that way, right? Like from the ClickFunnels group and some other groups, right?
Oh yeah, totally. So you mean in other Facebook groups or in my own Facebook group?
In others.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, this is like going back to like the early days, but yes. So when I hired my first business coach, Sarah, she helped me like figure out that Facebook groups were a really great way. And that was the first way that I ever got like freelancing clients, was through other people's Facebook groups, because I didn't have a name for myself. So what I would do is go into big Facebook groups that had audiences that I thought would probably be my ideal audience. I didn't really know at the beginning. But given that I was a copywriter at that point, like I was pretty good at like writing, I guess posts that were like valuable and kept people like reading the whole time. But then at the end would be like, or it would get them like kind of wanting more, right? Because like, that's kind of like what copywriting is all about. But I was also super just aware that really any Facebook group owner doesn't want you like spamming the group. They only want you adding value. And so I was really good about like giving just like really like massive value bomb posts in these big groups, like the ClickFunnels group was probably where I got like most of my clients, without being like spammy at all at the end. Like I wouldn't say like PM me for more, or like there was no links or anything. I would just like, hope you guys found this super helpful. Like, let me know if you have questions down below and I'll happily help. And I would get like a ton of feedback like on those posts and ClickFunnels. And yeah, so that was kind of literally the first way and then people would just private message me without me having to ask.
There's a real art form to that, because most people that do it, like I instantly know. Maybe it's just because I see it so much, but most of the time when people do that, I instantly know what they're doing. So if you can learn to do that, in a, as you kids say, a low-key way, it can be really advantageous. But I think there's like a fine line.
There is such a fine line. Like I noticed that too. And like, it kind of like, I've gotten more self-conscious about it, like as the years have progressed, because back in that time, which was like 4 or 5 years ago, I feel like, I don't know, I didn't really notice very many other people doing it. So I was kind of like, hey, like I found this cool way to like get people to really like me and reach out to be my client. But nowadays, like you see everybody trying to do that. And now I'm just like, oh crap, like did I come off that way, or like am I coming off that way now? And it kind of like makes me second guess, like be really careful about the wording that I do, because I don't really want to come off like that. So
yeah, it's tough. And I have a couple, as you know, very large Facebook groups, so I see it a lot. So I'm probably a little more sensitive to it. I mean, I literally have a rule in one of mine that's no agenda, and that includes like value adding posts, because
that's funny.
If you add value with the intent to get something out of it, you're not actually adding value. It's kind of the way I look at it. But
yeah,
not that there's anything wrong with it, but anyhow. That's just something I wanted to bring up, because I know it's something you've had success with and something we have to fight all the time. So I wanted to prove that I'm not opposed to giving value. I just wanted this to show that there's a way to do it, you know?
Totally.
So, and something you've been working on lately is YouTube, right? Like actual YouTube channel. How's that going?
Yeah, so that's something, gosh, I really do love it. It's so much fun, but it's so slow too. Like that's what I've noticed. I think it can be at times disheartening. So I've tried to I try not to focus on it as a specific like metric or thing that I'm watching. Just because I don't know, there's certain like big gurus out there, like, I don't know, like Kevin David or like Tanner J. Fox or whatever. And they're like, yeah, and they're like, oh, my YouTube channel just like blew up like really fast, and I made like a whole bunch of money from my YouTube channel in like one day. And I'm just like, it's not happening for me. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but like,
you really have to like make that your job, I think. Because every once in a while I get like a fire under my ass about it too. I'll be like, I'm gonna start making a video every day, and I'll do it for a while, and it'll work. Like it'll start going well, and I'm like, Christ, this is exhausting. Pardon my language. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but like this is really exhausting. Like it's a lot of work to like come up with new topics, make it interesting, make the thumbnails and stuff. But it's absolutely worth it, I think, too, because I have videos that I made in like 2016 that I still get people coming to me. I just watched your video. Can you still do that for me? That sort of thing. So what kind of stuff do you do on yours? Do you like vlog, or do you like teach, or what's your channel about?
Yeah, so it's taken a couple different, I've had like different angles with it in the past. What I'm doing so the first reason that I started it at all was like business, just to like it was a way, like when I was creating content like for Facebook, which was kind of like my main platform, I would just like put it on YouTube to kind of like store it there. And that way, if anyone ever asked me like later, like, hey, like, how do you do this thing? I'll be like, oh, like, here's the YouTube link. Like, you can just watch it. So it started out as like that. And then, actually, well, that maybe isn't true, because I think I probably went to Japan like before I even started doing that. So I kind of just created it, I don't know, like without really thinking about it. You know how you just, when you have a Gmail account, like you have a YouTube account or whatever. So I stored some of my like travel vlogs there just so that I could look back on them. And I'm so grateful. Like I literally watched them like a month ago, and I was like, damn, like I'm really glad that I like spent the time to create these videos. But so it started out like pretty much as like just a repository where I could just like keep my stuff. And then then when I started to get like legit into like online marketing, I was like, okay, like there's all these big, I don't know, like gurus out there that are saying that I should like make YouTube into like a business type thing. And so then I kind of started to create content on like make money online, like make $100 a day, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that whole thing. And it didn't really work. Like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't like put enough time and effort into it, but I didn't really see like, I would get like, gosh, like 20 or 40 views like total on a video that I spent like 3 hours to just create. And then like the uploading and editing is like another thing. And I was just like, this is not working. So then took a little break and kind of just still used it as just like a repository, like somewhere where I could just put my content that I would create for like, I don't know, clients or like Facebook audience or whatever. And then, yeah, I kind of just really use it as a place to put stuff that has helped me in my entrepreneurial journey and that I know can help other people. So like there's some mindset stuff on mine that like just realizations that I've had. And I find that like talking it out or just talking about something to a camera like kind of helps me solidify it in my own head. So I've created some content like that, or I have like a major lesson that I've learned or whatever breakthrough that I've had. And then more lately, like since I have a decent like audience on Facebook and like Facebook groups, I'll a lot of times create content like for my Facebook groups or whatever, and then like I'll immediately also post it on YouTube and then like send it out to my lists or whatever and say like, hey, you can watch it on Facebook or YouTube. And some people, it's interesting, like within the Messenger bot, so I send out broadcasts through a Messenger bot, and you can see what percentage of people click to watch on Facebook or YouTube. And like, at least for my audience, like it's usually like much more than half, like 60, 70, or 80% of people will click to watch it on YouTube instead. So
that's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. Like, why would you want to go off the site that you're on to go whatever? Yeah.
I have no idea, but like I just kind of started noticing that. So then lately I've been in my head, I've kind of been like, okay, well, I really want to, like, again, it's another one of those like shiny object things. It's like, I know that I can reach so many more people with YouTube than with Facebook, like organically at least. But it's also such a slow process that it's like, yeah. So basically where my YouTube channel is right now is like, it's kind of at the point where it's actually like finally starting to grow a little bit on its own without me doing anything. Like I'll get like, I don't know, 100 opposed to getting like 100 subscribers in like 8 months.
The thing that's hard, well, there's a couple things. The first is there's no trackable ROI to it. Like, you know, with an ad, you can.
I know it's hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to say if it's worth it. And there's some dumb shit that I don't like about YouTube, and that's like the thumbnail is more important than the video as far as like making it work. And like, I think if you go into any like YouTube marketing Facebook group, which is an interesting thing to say, but if you go into any of those, they spend almost all their time talking about the thumbnail, which to me is so stupid on a platform that's about video, that their algorithm is set up that the art on the thing is more important than the video. So to me, I don't know, maybe I'm just on a rant here, but I think that's really stupid. And it's one of the reasons I don't do more videos is because anybody who's seen my Photoshop skills knows I am not very good at it and I don't enjoy it at all. So it's frustrating to me that that's such an important factor, you know?
Yeah, no, I know. And the only thing the only real trackable ROI with organic, at least, obviously with YouTube ads, it's different. But like with organic, I finally got my channel like monetized. So at least I got a little bit of AdSense money off of that.
Yeah, I make like really $100 a month or something.
Yeah, same. It's literally like 100. Yeah, same amount. But
all right, everybody, I am here with Nico Moreno, marketer, chatbot expert, former lettuce picker.
Texan.
Really? Yeah. You consider yourself a Texan?
I don't know. I mean, I was born in California and now I live in Texas, so make of it what you will.
Anyway, if you have any questions for he or for I on what we're talking about or literally anything else, you can drop them in the chat on YouTube or on Facebook. StreamYard is allowing me to stream to both, and this is the first time I've done a multi-stream without numerous tech errors, so I'm pretty happy with how that's progressing.
Oh, I didn't see that there were live comments. I just saw that now.
And there's only been a couple so far, but yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. So you mentioned that when you put out like a new video or something, you do a chatbot broadcast. Now, I'm not as well versed in chatbots as I need to be, and one of the reasons is I've had issues with my Facebook account, like my actual personal Facebook account in the past. And
really?
Yeah, and I'm not because of chatbots, but I'm kind of afraid to do anything with them because of that. And I know that they've like changed the rules about what you're allowed to do. Like, how is that affecting the way that those are going to work?
That's a really good question. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And perfect segue, I actually have a really good, thorough YouTube video on how to set your Facebook page, or how to like properly, you have to request like certain permissions for your Facebook business page to access certain broadcasting features now. And it didn't used to be that way, but now you do for ManyChat.
Okay.
In order to be able to broadcast specific things. So basically, in a nutshell, it's kind of like you have to get your page approved to be able to send out broadcasts through your chatbot. Basically, Facebook just wants to be sure that you aren't just like spamming people with, I don't know, like offers and whatnot, which you can still do. If you get it approved, you can still kind of get away with that as long as you don't get reported by your audience and like your subscribers. There's really, to my knowledge, there's really no way that they can tell and nothing will happen. But you do have to get it like approved initially. And so how you kind of do that is you basically have to tell them, or tell Facebook kind of like what you're going to be using, what your page is all about, what you're going to be using the broadcasts for, and give them examples of broadcasts that you would send out. And also if you have previous broadcasts that you've sent out, like you have to pick like several and like show them basically.
It sounds like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, it takes like, yeah, it's kind of a pain. It was a pain to figure out because it took me like 4 or 5 tries to get approved. But once you do get, once I figured out like what it was that they actually wanted, then it only took like 10 minutes. But yeah, if you're kind of just like shooting in the dark and you're like, I don't know what the heck they even want to see from me, then it's really annoying. But yeah, I did create a video walkthrough on it. If anyone's interested, I can put it somewhere here after.
I'm gonna grab your channel and actually stick that in the chat.
Oh, so, sweet, yeah.
That's really interesting. I'm gonna watch that after we get done, actually, because that's one of the reasons I haven't done more with it. I actually have a pretty large messenger list, at least I think it is. And I literally never send broadcasts because I'm so afraid of getting my Facebook account in trouble again.
Oh, like yeah. Well, you used to, though, like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like it just, even recently I got put in Facebook jail, like a mini Facebook jail, because like, they didn't specifically tell me because they never tell you anything. But basically it was because I had a syndication, like I did these videos like we're doing right now, and I had a program that just syndicated it out to all my pages. Well, they interpreted that as me spamming pages, even though they were my pages. And I couldn't post links or anything for over a week. I mean, literally no link anywhere on Facebook for over a week. So
that's so weird. Facebook is really, really weird about that whole thing. Like that's one of the reasons why I actually like YouTube a lot. I don't know. I feel like they're just, I mean, given like people take advantage of YouTube, like in the comments, there's just like tons of spam and stuff. So like it's a double-edged sword, but like YouTube is way more lenient with just like, letting you live your life.
Yeah, they haven't gotten near the bad press that Facebook has either. I think that's probably part of it. So I could be wrong about that, but you now sending like a chatbot broadcast that gets an insane amount of traffic, right? Like the click-through rates are ridiculous.
Yeah, the click-through rates are really, really good. So generally, and it kind of depends if you're doing like a live broadcast or if it's like an automated sequence, which you can also do similar to an autoresponder. But yeah, usually you can get open rates between like 70% and 100%, and click-through rates between like 30% and like 60%.
Awesome.
Which is really, really good compared to email marketing.
Yeah. And it's really easy to set up, right? Like, I mean, not really easy, but it's, the visual interface, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. No. So one of the beliefs that holds people back, and I know because I did the webinar on it, is that chatbots are super technical and you have to have a technical background. You have to be a coder. It's so not true. It's literally drag and drop, and you can set, if you just like give yourself 5 minutes inside of ManyChat and you're like complete beginner and you're like, okay, I'm just going to experiment for 5 minutes. That's literally all you need. And then you'll be like, okay, this is actually really easy. It literally is just drag and drop.
I have one. I'm not really pushing that agency anymore, but I have one on the Superstar SEO agency site that I literally set up while I was watching UFC one night. Like on one monitor I had UFC, and the other one I set up like, it wasn't like super detailed, but it had like 4 or 5 different, I don't even know what you call them, like flows.
Or like messages.
Well, like I don't know. I guess if statements is what I would call them back when I was doing.
Oh, okay, yeah. No.
But yeah, and branches, whatever. But my point is that I was only half paying attention and set it up while I was doing that. And I think people it's
really intuitive.
Yeah, most of my audience is SEO. I hate saying my audience. I feel like such a pompous ass when I do, but most of the people watching this are in SEO, but I think that's a great way to add like another $500 a month or something to a client, just to set that up for them. So I wish more of them would take advantage of that. So that's just something I think that people should do. And it's something we talked about focusing. It's one of the million things I want to do a bit more of too. So I don't know. I think they're cool, and I think there's a lot of potential there. Not just with like the Facebook ones. That's actually a question I'm going to have you answer. Is a lot of people don't seem to get that a Facebook Messenger can be off of Facebook, but like on a website. Can you like explain that a little bit? That's not true, right?
Wait, can you say it again?
So a lot of people, when we talk about messenger bots, they think that you have to be on Facebook the whole time. But the truth is you can put like growth tools on websites, funnels.
Yeah. So you can have, if anyone's ever seen, so Chris, you're totally right. If anyone's ever seen like, I feel like software companies have this a lot where they have like a little chat bubble in the lower right-hand side, and it'll pop up and it'll be like, hey, do you have any questions for our team? Like, we're here to assist you. You can do that with like Facebook Messenger bots, like ManyChat. And it doesn't take, I mean, it literally takes like one piece of code.
Yeah, you just put it in the header.php.
Like I just did it this morning. I'm not a technical person at all. Like I did it for one of my funnels that has like a video sales letter on it. And so I was like, hey, if people want to like type in and ask questions, then like, yeah. So you can totally do that. You don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be like on the Facebook platform to experience chatbots.
Right.
There are a lot of other ways.
Yeah, they will have to have a Facebook account to interact with it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
so like, yeah, I know, like most people, I mean, yeah, maybe not every audience will do well with it, but, or I mean, like maybe not every single person in your audience would have a Facebook account, but like most people are going to have one.
Yeah. So do you do anything with non-Facebook bots?
No, I have not. I've seen a couple other like solutions and people who just like being in the marketing world, like I've seen other people who like are like bot builders, and they will build it in like other platforms too. So I know it's a thing for sure.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something you mentioned a few minutes back. You were talking about how you had a lot of like mindset videos on your channel, and I know that that's something I've seen you do a lot with over like a year and a half or something. So can you explain like what you do to improve your mindset, improve yourself, why that's important? Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the main things that I do to improve my mindset is just, I mean, it sounds like so basic, but just find people who are like several years or even a lot of years or like ahead of you in your specific field or your niche, and just like listen to them talk. Like that's it, because like they have, in order to succeed, in order to get to like levels, like pretty high levels of success in entrepreneurship. I mean, once you start getting into the entrepreneurship game, you start to realize that there are no limits other than the ones that like you set for yourself, if that makes sense. And it sounds like woo-woo, but it's really not. Like once you realize that, wow, you really can, especially with the internet too, like, wow, you really can create like anything that you want in business, and you can create like any sort of business that you want for yourself. Then it starts to become a matter of like, okay, well, if I'm like feeling like, you know, fear, or like feeling like I can't do that, or like feeling like it's not possible for me, like, well, why do I feel that way? Mm-hmm. Right. And a lot of time it's just like the chatter that you're having in your own head. And the reality is like,
do you do any like, have you taken any like personal, like, do you have like mentors for that sort of thing? Coaches? Have you ever done anything like that? Like like taken part in something like that? I mean.
Yeah. So I've gone, well, so I do a lot of like just reading and like listening to audiobooks and stuff like that. But I have also had like one like actual like personal development / like mindset. It was within the realm of business, but it was more like a mindset, personal development, like coach. And it's actually, I can't remember, was I talking about this on the interview about like the fact that I'm not allowed to buy money or buy anything other than ads?
Yeah, you mentioned that a little while ago.
Yeah. So that was this It was the same guy. So I find that they really are extremely relevant to one another. Like breaking through mental barriers and also breaking through barriers in business. Like they really come down to like what's going on inside your head. And so, yeah, to answer your question, yes, I have had like specific mindset coaches with like a focus on business, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's totally like, it's like a real thing. And like everybody in the entrepreneurship community, like they want tactics, like they want like the one secret solution that's going to like explode everything. But really like the actual solution is like getting control of your thoughts in your head.
4 feet of real, no, what is it? There's a cliche. It's like however many inches of real estate, whatever the side of your head is, but that is where things are decided. Meaning it's all decided in your head. But I definitely agree with that. I know that it comes off like a lot of the programs, like what you were talking about, come off a little scammy sometimes because unfortunately some people have taken advantage of it. But if you can find someone that you connect with, I think it's definitely worth the investment as long as you're going to take advantage of it. This is funny to me because we were talking about someone last night who has a course that has way too much mindset and it takes a long time to get through. So not every person is going to connect with every coach, but it's important, I think, to find someone that you connect with.
Oh yeah, I was like trying to think in my head, like without saying the name, but yeah, I know. Yeah, it's totally true though. Like if you don't connect with the way that they're teaching mindset, then it like even like a sentence can seem like too much. But if you really like connect with the way that person is talking and thinking, then it can be like, holy crap, like this, or sorry if that's like not okay to say on your channel, but like oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense, right? It really just kind of like depends on if you relate to.
Well, and that's why there's different people selling different things. Like a common complaint that I hear a lot from a lot of people is there's too many people selling courses that it must be bullshit. I was like, there probably are some shit ones out there, but it's really about finding one that's distilled in a way that connects with you. Because truthfully, almost every piece of information that's ever been created is available for free. But what they're saving you is the time of putting it in a way that works and distilling it down into a module or a widget that works for you. So, and the same goes for mindset coaching, I would think.
Yeah, totally.
I apparently asked a question. I think that's one of my my staff who forgot to change the admin on my page. So it looks like it's coming from me, but someone says, Chris and Nico, what's your favorite motivational, entrepreneurial, inspirational book or video?
Gosh. Okay. Well, I would say the book that really changed my mindset about like money, which made a big impact in like my business success, it's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money.
Interesting.
It's really like, it's very, that's not the right, what's the right word? Like it's really, it's kind of woo-woo, if you want to put it that way, but holy crap, it changed my mindset about money. This was kind of like right when it was kind of between when I was like doing like, really not charging a lot for like freelance stuff. And like, I was kind of just like barely making ends, not like I was ever like starving, but like I was not making like a lot of money. And I was like, okay, like I'm working really hard. Like, why am I not like making more money? And then suddenly it just like, it really shifted things like in 3 weeks, like literally. I made like a very significant amount of money just because of the way that I was thinking about and viewing it. So that's why I'm such a big believer in like, yeah, mindset is actually a real thing. Because I mean, think about it this way. If you have like the exact same service or the exact same offer and your mindset is at a place where you're like, oh, I know that this is valuable enough to confidently charge $5,000 for it versus $500. Like the only difference is in your head. Right. About the ability to charge that amount. And so like, if you do have that new shift in perspective, which can happen pretty quickly, then like, boom, you're suddenly making a lot more money.
For me, it was The Killing Joke, the Batman comic book. That's not a joke, by the way. That was one of the big.
I'm gonna write that down. I've never heard of it. The Killing Joke.
Yeah, and for the people that don't know, it's like outside of DC's regular continuity, but it's where there's this conversation between Batman and the Joker, where Joker is trying to convince Batman that everybody's evil, and that Batman is saying that it's just people like them that are evil. And the Joker tells Batman that the only difference between people like them, meaning everybody else, and people like us, meaning the two of them, is that they had one bad day that changed everything for them. And then he goes on to kidnap the commissioner and tries to prove it by torturing him and stuff. And, things happen. But that's kind of beyond the point of the story. That's kind of how I motivate myself, is realizing that you're always one bad day away from everything you work for, like, going away. So it's your job to work and build and make it as impossible. Make that day have to be worse and worse and worse in order for it to go away. So that one line in that one comic book has been it's not meant as a motivational or inspirational thing, but for whatever reason that just stuck with me, and it's like turned into a guiding part of everything I do. So I know when I say that, most people think I'm joking, but it's funny to say joking about the Joker, but it's true.
No, I like that though.
One line, that one. It's just a really great story. Like, all that shit aside, it's just a really good comic book story. But so that's the answer for me. So I bet whoever asked that was not expecting that.
No, I like that though. And I think it also can go the other way too. Like, you're just one big mindset shift from, like, I don't know, like changing your trajectory in a positive direction too.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, mine is a little bit more negative, I guess you could say, but it's the same thing. It's what Russell.
Yeah, like it goes either way, kind of.
It's what Russell Brunson always says in a way. I mean, he's twisting it to his product, but he always says, you're one funnel away from whatever. Yeah. And even though that's a marketing strategy for him, it's absolutely true too. Like, that one decision you make to put in that one piece of work that one day could literally change everything. And it has for me several times. I can point to several, like, one random decision I made in my life that has been the slingshot to go forward. And I'm sure you have some similar ones you can point to too. So you're absolutely right, is what it's basically what I'm saying, is you're always one decision away from changing everything for yourself. So I don't know how we got on this, like, woo-woo thing. But,
I know, me neither.
But
what was the question? That said, what was your favorite motivational?
But it's definitely true. So great. So if people wanted to, like, connect with you some more, where would they go? You have like a group, a Facebook group, a YouTube channel? How can they hook up with you?
Yeah, so you can hook up with me, YouTube channel, just Nico Moreno. So I guess that will be linked somewhere on here in the comments or something.
Yeah, I already dropped it.
Okay. So there's that. You can also just find me at nicomoreno.org.
Really?
Yeah, it'll have links to most of my stuff. Or you can, like, my hiring program is called legacyempirebuilders.com. You can find me there. And then, I have a Messenger Bots course if y'all are interested in that. messengerbotsforentrepreneurs.com. But again, these are all kind of like, you can find these all from my main site. Or you can find me on Facebook too. Like, I try to be pretty responsive unless it ends up in, like, the spam folder. Like, I try to be responsive to people who reach out to me on there too. So
awesome. I think I typed a few of those wrong. I'm curious why you have a .org.
Oh, you said .con for the last one.
I also left off the H, but
figure
it out. I'm curious why you have a .org for your personal site.
Oh yeah, because nicomoreno.com was like $20,000, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And the .org was like $7.99, and I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
I went through that for a while.
I don't know who the other Nico Moreno is, but I guess I value that a lot.
A musician or something? I think we talked about this once.
Yeah, if you search, so that's the thing. Like, I think now I'm starting to outrank them on YouTube, but like previously, if you had searched Nico Moreno on YouTube, it would literally just be like this death metal person named like Nico Moreno. It was called like Insolent Rave, and it was like all these like skulls and like death stuff, and I was like,
stop trying to pretend like that's not really you and your alter ego.
Yeah, I have a separate life.
Awesome.
after hours.
Well, unless anybody has any questions, I think we've been here for almost an hour now. That went really fast. So anything else you'd like to talk about, or?
Gosh, I mean,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think it's been a pretty cool conversation. I think there's a lot for people to take away from it.
Yeah, I mean, not to like end on a weird, like, not to end on like a inspirational note, but I think one of the things that's kept me going is like with entrepreneurship in general is like, I really just like not like you can like give up and quit like at the micro level like a lot of times in your head and just be like, oh my God, like today sucks, like I give up. But as long as you like hold that vision like in the long term and like you know it's possible in the long term, then like it's okay. Like you're gonna have bad days, bad weeks, like no matter what phase of business you're at. But as long as you like hold out that hope for like the big vision, like long term, then like that's at least what that's what kept me going through like crappy times where I'm like, I don't know if this thing is actually going to work. So hopefully that'll speak to someone.
So one last question for you then. What's your long-term goal? Like, do you want to keep growing, helping people with courses? Do you want to keep marketing? What's the end game for Nico Moreno?
The end game for Nico Moreno.
Yeah.
So right now it's helping people create and scale their high ticket offers because that's been the most transformational thing in my life. And so I really like maybe it sounds like, I don't know, like hippy dippy, but I really truly like, I love seeing my clients like have like those breakthroughs and be like all excited, like, oh my God, like this worked. Like literally like that is where I get the fulfillment from right now. Cause like, I mean, like where else is it going to come from? Right.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was such a long time in my life where I was like, oh, like once I get this car or whatever, like then I'll be happy. Or once I like have this money or whatever, then I'll be happy. And then I realized like I had such a rude awakening. Like once I got to that level and I was like, oh, like it didn't make me happy. So like there was a lot of times where I was like, it really is not about the money. Like you have to find something that really like keeps you going, keeps you happy and keeps you fulfilled. And for me right now, it's helping my like higher end clients like have these bigger breakthroughs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really excited about right now.
It's hard to say that to certain people, but once you get to a certain point of income, more of it doesn't make your life any better. Like more money doesn't really make your life any better, depending on what your desires are. You know, if you want to have a yacht or something, then you need more money. But for the most part, once you hit like, I don't know, 20, 30 grand a month, another 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 doesn't really improve your lifestyle that much. And then it becomes more about I don't want to say emotionally, but the emotionally fulfilling things.
It just comes about. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be like emotionally or whatever, but it's just like finding something that actually makes you feel fulfilled. I think at the beginning, especially with like internet marketing or whatever, because like everyone always like flashes their cars and like whatever. Like it's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking like, okay, like when I have all this money, then I'll be able to get like this cool, sexy car, and like then I'll be happy. And like I fell into that too, and then I found out like it doesn't make you happy.
No, that dopamine wears off.
It just doesn't. Yeah. So I think you really just like you have to find something.
Yeah. Michael says, "Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Michael. Good to see you here." Keith says, "Thanks, guys. This was very interesting." B Bando says, "Nico, what courses do you have these days?"
B Bando. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've got Messenger Bots for Entrepreneurs course. You should definitely check that out. It's a super good course. Like, it was so much fun to create, and like literally, that's been what I've been working on for the past like 1.5 years. And then once I was finally able, oh yeah, Chris has that course.
It's good stuff.
It's a pretty awesome course. Yeah, so check that course out if you want to monetize chatbots or start like a chatbot agency. That's the thing to do. messengerbotsforentrepreneurs.com. /go if you want to just jump to the good stuff. But there's a webinar too. That's kind of like the main like course, and then I have like a higher end like coaching program.
Awesome. I started one of those recently too. I've only picked up a couple people with it because it's not like my main focus, but it is very
the coaching program.
Yeah, working one-on-one with people. So
yeah, it like it's so, I don't want to, I'm trying to like word this in a way that doesn't come off like I don't want to sound like, I don't know.
Just say it, man. Nobody's
like,
gonna.
Yeah. But like, you know how like sometimes when you get to a certain level, you kind of start to discount yourself and the skills that you have as like normal. And like, so for example, like, I don't know, creating a webinar funnel or something, or creating like a high ticket funnel that works, like to you, that might just be like, okay, like that's basic, like I can do that. But to someone else who's like a little bit like not as far as you, like what you think is like basic and like easy to them could be like life changing and like a big breakthrough. And so like just realizing that and like giving people the opportunity to learn that cool new skill that really can change their lives, like it's really, really gratifying. And it reminds you of like, okay, wow, you know what? The stuff that I do know how to do is actually pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. I have to remind myself of that sometimes too. When someone will ask a question, I'm like, come on, man, this is super basic. But then I think back, I've only been in this a few years, and I remember when I didn't know how to do that. I can't even think of a specific example at the moment, but what you're saying is that don't take for granted that what you know, other people also know. So, all right. I think that's probably a good point to jump off. We've been here 1 hour and 1 minute now. So I know you're super busy. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out and talk to everybody today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate it.
Thank
you for having me here.
My pleasure. And as always, figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it, because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world to be as good as you can be. Take care, guys. I'll see you next week.